Good morning. It's Paul Case here. Had a first calf heifer. Went to have her calf yesterday evening, and this little booger was alive when I pulled him out over last night, and I put him over up against the building. It didn't start raining until the middle of the night, but he didn't make it. First one I've lost this year. Coda lost one the other day. Thought it was coyotes that got him. And so there's her numbers. She won't be staying around. Blue 40, yellow 47. And so I'm going to go turn her out today. It's Saturday. It rained half the night last night. And it's a little cooler today. Got plans to go to an auction. So we'll see how that works out. I spent yesterday was my dad's birthday. And so we took him out for supper last night. And I spent about half hour, 45 minutes out here working on pulling that calf last night. He was alive whenever I got him out. You know, some of them things happen, huh? It's just the way it goes. Can't let them all. Kind of thought he'd be up and going because he was pretty much dried off when I left. And I may just wait to open the gate on her till after I get my cows counted. I did have her tailed up here. She was trying to have him yesterday evening before we took Dad out for supper. And I thought that she would either have him or he would be dead. Have to be pulled whenever I got home from taking Dad to supper last night. But he wasn't. He was very much alive, but she wasn't working very hard at having him. So you can see, boy, it rained. Look, it rained all over. Some people are going to ask what kind of equipment I've got. A lot of people have one of these high-dollar calf pullers or whatever. I want to show you what I use to help a calf get born. Right there. Hay string. Square baler string works the best, and you can get by with one strand of it. And you got the cow restrained. You don't want to do it unless you got her restrained pretty good. But if you got the cow restrained, you can take and make that hay string into a loop on each end, and make it long enough that you can get the thing around the back of you, hook it onto both front feet of the calf, and you can get him worked on that way. Before I go do my chores, I wanted to do a little bit of a video on what I've been working on in the shop. So let's go over there and look. I've had a project going on for quite a while. It's a Farmall H. I bought a H from a gentleman over at Baxter probably 2 years ago that had a bearing out in the rear end, and several years before that, and I sold parts off of the one, but several years before that I bought an H that had a 3-point on it from the Cusot family down in Peoria. And so been doing a little project. This is the rear end that has the bearing out in it. We stripped a lot of stuff off from it. Haven't took it all the way down to nothing, but there's a bearing out in the front end of the transmission. And I know that can be fixed, but I already had this rear end, and it has 3-point on it. And I got them Dakota helped me day before yesterday, and we got them took apart, and I got the other rear end up here and pretty close to ready to put back together. And then yesterday afternoon, I got the thing shoved back together. You can see my little wooden frame down underneath there. I just built me a frame and had some blocks holding it up on that frame, and with the back tires off and the forklift, I had plenty of adjustment on how I needed to get it to slide back together, and I slid it back together. And so you can see the paint's different. This is the new rear end, and this is the old front end. And so we just split it apart right there, slid it back together with the new rear end on it. And I'm pretty sure everything on that rear end works. Plus, it's got that 3-point. It's on there. It's not, the pins are not all in it, but. And we robbed a bunch of parts out of that other thing while we had it sitting here. Hydraulic pumps there. The link for the hydraulic pump right there. I have a whole bunch of parts. I may start putting some of them on Craigslist or eBay. I've already got them and got them apart, but this is going to be a for sale project when I get it back together. We have yet to put the gas tank on it, and then as usually happens on old equipment when you go to work on it, especially when it's been sitting a while, this front part, I went to take they got a little wire kind of that hooks into the choke, which would go in that hole right there. When I took the cotter pin out of the wire and went to take the wire off from it, and the choke rod that goes across there broke at one of the little bolt holes where the deal goes on it. But I've got a couple more of them carburetors, so you can see a lot better there the paint differences and what stayed with the front end and what was with the back end. And these tractors that I bought that I've done like this, I've made money on them all along. I don't remember how much I give for the tractor with the bad motor, but I sold both the back wheels off from it. They were both good. I sold the steering shaft and front bolster off from it, and the motor on it had been hot, and so I sold it at the scrap. And I think I kept the hood off from it. Usually if the hood's good, I'll keep the hood. You never know when somebody might need a hood. But and then on the one that had the bad rear end, it had 3-point on it, and I didn't sell the 3-point, but Scott got it. And I've got a whole bunch of other parts. They took the top off the transmission, and of course you're going to have the hydraulic pump, which is sitting right there, and then they've got a little short drive shaft in them. These are actually fixed up to where you can change the clutch in them without breaking them in two. You can drop that drop that hydraulic pump out, and then back here at the front of the transmission, inside there, they've got a U-joint deal that you can take the bolts out of, and then you can take the bolts out of your pressure plate, and the clutch, pressure plate, and that short piece of drive shaft will come out the bottom. And so you can take the clutch out of them and change the clutch and pressure plate without having to break them in two, which is really cool, I think. I've always thought that was a good deal, and you could do that. But that's kind of how this goes. I haven't never heard that motor run, but I'm certain it will. And thing's been inside ever since I've had it, and it was inside. We drug it out of the barn where I bought it at. So, I've gone on about long enough. We've got plans to go to an auction today. They've got several tractors, only one of which is even close to being something I can afford. It is close, and I happen to be acquainted with the guy some that has it, or his dad has it. And it's a 460 Farmall with a loader on it. Going to see what it'll bring. Don't bring too much. Well, I'll bring it home and put it up for sale. I've got several people lately bugging me wanting tractors, and that kind of a tractor may scare some people off, but it's I got it on pretty good authority. If you take a little bit of care of them, especially if you got a spot to keep it inside, one like that will last you a long time. Taking care of 10 or 20 or 40 acres, doing your mowing, setting hay out, what else you might need to do with a tractor, and won't cost you a tenth of what it will to go buy one that you can finance. So, but anyway, that's Saturday morning doings. After I get back from the sale, I got to deliver a load of hay. I might make a little video loading it, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.